Gil here with the Sailing Vessel Dream Chaser, and in today's episode we're going to go ahead and work on cleaning the bilge pump. We have a primary and a secondary and a tertiary bilge pump in this particular boat. The primary one, which is the one that kicks on and off anytime there's a little bit of water in the bottom of the bilge, just seems to sort of be trickling out the side of the boat when it does kick on. It's not really throwing the water out very well, so we're going to hop down there and take a look. My guess is it's just sort of filled up with some gunk and dirt and garbage from the bottom of the bilge. So, not a fun job, but one that we really need to do. Here we go. Sometimes people wonder, just how far does the bilge pump go in? Well, there you have it. I'm actually standing in the floor. I'm standing on the base of the floor, so this thing is a little bit higher than waist level. And I actually could go down another, I don't know, I guess about a foot to the, another foot to the lower portion of water, and another foot below that to the absolutely lowest portion of the bilge. So we will stop right here. I went ahead and got my scrapers and a little pail with a bucket, a bag in it, and that's just so I can get down below and get some of the garbage scraped off of there instead of using a towel right away. So let me show you what it looks like down there. Here we go. And taking a look down here. I'm just aiming this straight down at this point, and again, you can really see. So I can use the zoom. I don't have to get right down there. This is the very bottom of the bilge. And you can see that large white sort of sock that's just an oil absorber. I always keep down at the bottom to make sure. And then below that is the primary bilge pump. And then you can see here the secondary on the right and the tertiary on the left. The small white hose there, the small clear one, is actually a condensation line for the forward air conditioner. And this is the forward side of the motor right here. Now it's just a matter of lifting up this bilge sock and getting it kind of out of the way. I just tucked it up here behind the bilge pump for a few moments, and at this point it's preparing my scrapers and starting to scrape along the sides and the base of the bilge. You'll notice here I started on the vertical sides where there was a little bit of buildup and just sort of went to town. I'm going to fast forward through some of this because it'll take a little while to get all this cleaned up. Now that I got the base scraped out, it's a matter of lifting the bilge pump out of the primary sump hole and just getting ready to clean this up. Not a pleasant job here, but I started with just getting the bilge pump into an area where I could get to it and scraping some of the heavier dirt off of it before actually wiping it with a towel. Once the outside was relatively clean, I went ahead and disconnected the hose and removed the bilge pump from the hose itself just to give myself some more room. And honestly, then it was a matter of really digging around in the sump and cleaning everything out. Like I said, it's not the most pleasant job in the world, but it does have to be done from time to time. You know, there's certainly dirt gets down there, any dust, or in our case, we get a little bit of cat hair, and those things all sort of work their way down into the bilge, and ultimately with any liquid or water that goes in there, they flow right in the lowest part of the sump, and that's ultimately what ends up clogging up the intake screens on the pump itself, which obviously can cause a problem if your bilge pumps end up being obstructed and can't exit water out of the boat. Normally it's not really an issue, but in the case of an emergency, I want to make sure I know that these things can pump the water out of the boat, especially if there was a through hull that was leaking, or a hose that broke, or something that gave me a 1-inch hole in the boat somewhere with water flowing in. Once everything was clean and I dropped it down again and had to start all over and clean it all off, it was just a matter of reassembling the base. You can see on the bottom of it here there is no base right now. I cleaned the screen and we just snapped this back onto the intake screen base and reconnect everything, and we're ready to go. After assembling everything back together again, I went ahead and put about 6 gallons of water down into the bilge, just using a pail to measure it. Made sure that the bilge pump kicked on automatically, and then went outside and looked at the flow coming out of the boat, and it was certainly coming out at the velocity that I would expect. Where it exits the side of the boat, it was shooting out about 3 feet or so, which is kind of what I would expect with an unobstructed pump. So with that, we were good to go. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for weekly updates and like this video.